It felt just like they were trying to hit our car off the side, like onto the shoulder, because every time we'd swerve, they'd swerve into us.
It was supposed to be a simple drive to McCall. During the ride up Highway 55, Brooke and Tate Jones say that they noticed a small black car tailgating them at Beacon Light Road. And quickly, the couple says that the driver behind them got aggressive. Brooke felt so uneasy that she called her mom to talk it through.
Hey, we're just about to pass Avamore. A car's been tailgating us, so I'm a little bit worried. And then so my mom heard the whole thing on the phone, and she was pretty scared just by hearing me.
Brooke says the situation continued to escalate as they felt the black car was trying to run them off the road. Tate says as he drove into Boise County, the situation boiled over.
There's a turnoff that goes into the rodeo area that's right there. They darted out on the side, and before they even cleared our car, they swerved in front of us, so I had to just slam on my brakes and swerve over.
Brooke and Tate say that the family in the black car pulled up and started yelling profanities at them.
The man had gotten out of the car and started screaming more profanities and just started punching through the window.
When he was punching through the window, did he hit you?
Yeah.
How many times do you think?
So I remember 3 times. She remembers him hitting me about
8 to 10.
8 to 10 times. So after he punched me the first time, I blacked out.
So the man went and hopped back into the car, and they were all still yelling at us, and we grabbed the video camera out.
Really? Tate took this video as the black car drove off. The couple says that they wanted to identify the other family involved and to see if anyone had witnessed the incident. So they posted everything on social media.
So the Facebook post.
Yeah.
The question's been asked. Who posted the original Facebook post?
My mom.
Who heard the whole thing?
Yes, my mom was on the phone the whole time.
That Facebook post was quickly shared thousands of times. Short time later, people online had identified the family, even sending Tate and Brooke a photo.
Our hearts started racing. He couldn't even look at it.
A lot of false information is being published and shared and spread, which in turn is inciting death threats.
Dozens of Facebook users claim that this was the family seen in the black car. This YouTube video published by the Antler Trader, it tells a very different story of what happened on Highway 55.
On our way to McCall, somebody decided to make some decisions, and which escalated to us being run off the road.
Tell the world the wrong story, then it's crazy to me.
The Antler Trader family tells a different side of the story and made it clear. This incident has been hard on them as well, but for a much different reason.
People that are reading the story, hitting share, you are all part of the problem. You are creating hate crimes against people you do not know, against a subject you do not know about.
Do you think people went too far in posting pictures and addresses and phone numbers?
I feel like some people did.
Yeah, some people did go too far.
She couldn't go to school today because she has girls at her school whose names are being handed over to the police, posting her name, address, phone number, her school schedule.
Brooke and Tate say that this was never their intention, that they were simply hoping that someone driving 55 saw something that day, something that will help investigators sort it all out.
The whole design of the barbershop is rugged and refined, just kind of that balance of what we are as men.
Trevor Hill owns Barclay & Hill, a barbershop in Meridian, Idaho. He tried to open a shop like this a decade ago, but had a tough time getting it going.
So I kind of refer to that as my failure and my success, because that led to then being able to do this.
Hill enlisted in the Army in 1999, then later transferred to the Marine Corps, serving until 2005. Years later, the values in this shop, which made it a success, reflect his military career.
I would say that there's maybe a little bit of a sense of pride of just being able to have served my country and then transition into now serving people in a different capacity.
As many veterans know, that transition can be tough.
You get out of the military and your rank and your medals, none of that really matters anymore. So you kind of have a little bit of an identity crisis. So then you go through this whole process of, not reinventing yourself, but kind of finding who you were before you got out.
That journey is something Hill shares with his coworkers. All 3 barbers here are military veterans.
So I was in the Marine Corps for 11 and a half years. I did supply administration, did a few deployments doing that, and then I was a combat instructor. So I taught infantry skills to non-infantry Marines.
Brandon Wilson says a lot of the tools from his military days,
rocket launchers, grenades, weapons systems,
are definitely a change of pace from his current collection. What started out as a necessity for these gentlemen became a passion.
I started out cutting hair just as the other guys did in the service. I did basically barracks cuts, which is where someone forgot to get a haircut and it's late Sunday night and you make an attempt to cut their hair just so they don't get in trouble.
I had an old Vietnam barber box, you know, with the clippers that you used with your hand, and you know, it'd pull hair like, I think it pulled more hair than it cut.
Stephen Van Doren joined the Army in 2005 and still serves with the National Guard. Working alongside other veterans comes with an unspoken understanding.
When you know you're in the presence of people with similar experiences, you feel safe.
There's just kind of that commonality of core values, you know, honor, courage, commitment, respect, and just a certain level of trust.
The name of the shop is a tribute to the man that helped mentor Trevor Hill, a man named Stu Barclay.
In a way of paying homage to my father-in-law, who is also a veteran and served in Vietnam as a Navy fighter pilot, I decided to name the barbershop Barclay and Hill.
From the name down to every detail inside, the trio agrees the shop brings back great memories.
Most veterans miss the camaraderie. They don't miss the day-to-day nonsense so much, but definitely, you know, shooting the crap with your friends, having a good time, giving each other a hard time, busting each other up is something that Saturdays get pretty wild around here.
That bond is not exclusive to just the barbers here.
Yeah, we have a lot of veterans that come in here from all branches of service.
It's always about service. When I get a old-time vet, you know, from Vietnam or who served before me, you know, you talk about, you know, what they went through and what their experience was like, and you're like, man, how crazy was that?
It's nice to be able to instantly relate to someone, and especially when they feel like they're remembering stories that they haven't talked about in a while. That's my favorite time, being around other veterans, is there's a lot of things you don't remember because you either block it out for one reason or another, and then you remember, no, that was actually pretty funny. That wasn't such a bad time, it just sucked at the time.
Like, you know, hey, what unit were you in? Or, you know, where'd you serve? And, you know, what was your job in the military? You just kind of find those connections, and then, you know, they come in as a stranger and leave as a friend.
There's no way that image belongs in the house of God.
A clear message as the stained glass image of Robert E. Lee was removed earlier from the Cathedral of the Rockies in Boise.
Robert E. Lee is not somebody that upheld Christian values, at least in his leadership as a general in the Confederate Army, defending slavery and working to protect and preserve it.
Bishop Elaine Sinofsky represents the United Methodist Church in the Northwest. She says regardless of the reasoning for the image of Lee being a part of the church, there is this truth.
It's an attempt to change the narrative about the Civil War from being about slavery to being about states' rights. And that's just a whitewash of the reality.
During a deconsecration service, church leaders confessed and repented for the image that looked over the cathedral for decades. The church is gifting the stained glass image to the Idaho Black History Museum.
We are seeing tangible, palpable acts that are uncomfortable. And especially, I can't stress this enough, in a holy space when there's an adherence to how we've always done things.
Philip Thompson, executive director of the Idaho Black History Museum, says this action is much more than just a formality.
We'll allow this the opportunity to move forward. And us taking ownership of it here at the museum affords it an opportunity to be utilized for something positive and not to desecrate with something that was, in fact, in a holy space.
On the backdrop of historical context, Thompson says the action is powerful, especially for people like his mother, community leader, Senator Cherie Buckner-Webb.
This is a great day in the life of this church and in our community as we unite to dismantle division and racism in Boise. We give thanks for this day and for those who lead and by their actions affirm the sanctity of all mankind.
Never imagined seeing such a thing, because she came up in the era when certain churches didn't allow black people to go. You couldn't go to certain birthday party because you were black, or I want you to sing at my whatever, oh, but I can't invite you because you're black.
Thompson and church leaders agree. This isn't the end-all be-all. There is more work to be done.
The first part of repentance is to say what you did wrong, and the second part is to get it right. So that's the hard work that's before us.
But we've been talking since the 60s. Please excuse my skepticism in thinking that talking is going to really fix anything. There has to be executable action accompanying those talks or precipitated by those talks to rectify whatever is wrong.